Hello everyone, you're watching the English News Bulletin of the QPVN channel. I'm Tâm Trang, and let's take a look through the headlines. A friendship story of US and Vietnamese veterans. It has been over 40 years since the Vietnam War ended. However, for many US veterans, this unjust war has still remained the haunting pains for the mothers losing their sons and wives losing their husbands. Moreover, seriously devastated land by dioxins have kept burdening the future generations. Paul Reed, a U.S. veteran who fought in Vietnam War, is not an exception. To find himself peace in mind, Paul Reed finally decided to meet his Vietnamese once rival on the former Kon Tum battlefield in 1968, First Lieutenant Nguyễn Văn Nghĩa. The close friendship has become a vivid demonstration for the growingly fine relationship between Vietnam and the U.S. in the spirit of putting behind the past and looking forward to the future.
Dear Mom and Dad, today is Sunday, I think. We are on a big mountain north of Pleiku. There are NVA regulars at the top in bunkers waiting for us. For 3 days now, we have poured everything we have on them, and a few are still there. While on patrol, we discovered their base camp. In the base camp were 52 NVA rucksacks. The rucksack I searched contained some communist literature, a VC flag, pictures of his wife and little baby, and a small book which looks to me like a diary.
Tôi là người lính của nhân dân. Tiếng súng quân thù mỗi lúc một. I am a people's army soldier. I love my land, but enemy comes here to take over my land.
It's nearly 25 years since Paul Reed, a U.S. veteran in Vietnam, were found the owner of the diary that has changed his life for the battle, Lieutenant Nguyễn Văn Nghĩa. Paul now has become close to each member in Nguyễn Văn Nghia's family. Once a year, he returns to Vietnam to visit his once rival at the former Kon Tum battlefield, who is now his friend. The friendship between them has saved him from the post-traumatic stress disorder in the aftermath of the war. After the first meeting with Lieutenant Nghĩa, Paul had invited him to visit his family and friends for many times. The relationship between them has demonstrated that when the feeling of hatred ceased to flare up while efforts to nurture the relationship have been boosted with specific actions, the war had truly ended. Then Paul spent 3 years writing a diary entitled Kon Tum Diary about his special friendship. The book has changed way of thinking of Vietnam and the war in Vietnam of many Americans, including U.S. veterans.
He has spent time visiting me. I'm so touched. We were once rivals, but now we are friends.
He is such an important man in my life. I understand Nguyễn Văn Nghĩa, and I believe Nguyễn Văn Nghĩa understands me.
During his visit, Paul Reed has a meeting with Vietnamese veterans in Thái Bình province in the hope to find owner of a diary that his comrade found on Kon Tum battlefield in 1968. The one who once scattered pains and sorrows in the war now has turned out to be an ambassador of peace and friendship between Vietnam and the U.S. The medals, a symbol of Paul Reed's company in the Vietnam War, are presented to Vietnamese veterans. For them, the medal has borne the same meaning, putting the past behind, looking forwards to the future. Experiencing losses of war, they have deeply understood the precious values of peace and friendship, which has laid the firm foundation for the 25-year friendship between Paul Reed and Lieutenant Nguyễn Văn Nghĩa, as well as for the deep and sustainable comprehensive partnership between Vietnam and the U.S.
Hi, Paul Reed. So happy to have you here in our program today. Could you share your close relationship with Lieutenant Nguyễn Văn Nghĩa?
March 17, 1968, we meet on the battlefield in Kon Tum province during the American War. We try to kill each other at that time, but we don't. And 25 years later, we became friends.
How did Nghia's diary change your life after you read it?
When we fight in Kon Tum, I managed to get the personal effects, the personal belongings of Nguyễn Văn Nghĩa from his backpack. I send them all to my parents in USA, and they keep them for me. I came home from the American War, an angry man. I never see anything nice in Vietnam. I'm very angry at the war for over 20 years. I lose my home, my land, my job. Every piece of property I own, I lose it. And I have to move in with my mother and father. And that's when my mother and father give me a Nguyen Van small book. They say, "Do you remember these? We saved them for you. Read it. Maybe there's something in there can help you." And so when I read about Nguyen Van love for his family and his country, it changed my heart forever toward Vietnam, toward the Vietnamese people. And I could see from what he wrote that in our heart we were both the same kind of people. And it changed my heart from anger to peace.
What do you think about the Vietnamese soldiers' qualifications shown in the book?
Well, of course, they were very strong and brave and heroic. Of course they were, and so we respect them. Honestly, we're a little afraid of them.
When I asked Nguyễn Văn Nghĩa about the relationship with you, he said that let's put the past aside and build the relationship at present. What do you think about this?
When I came to meet Nguyen Van in 1993, I think I may have been the first person to come to Vietnam, want to become friends with former enemy. And in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, okay, if two individual soldiers can reconcile and forgive one another and find peace, the two countries should be able to do that as well. A lot of my friends do not like it. After I went back to America and finished the book, I tell the story of the friendship of Nguyen Van and me that started out with hatred, but has become friendship and love and respect and appreciation for one another. They say, "You changed my mind."
As far as I know, this time you also bought another diary of Vietnamese soldiers that your comrade found in the war. So do you find something special about this book?
My friend, Wendell Fritz Schouts, he got the journal of Li An Phung at the same time I get Nguyen Van. So I realized that it meant a lot to Mr. Schouts to find the owners. He looked for peace.
So what do you think about the role of Vietnamese and U.S. veterans in fostering the relationship between the Vietnam and U.S. in the coming time?
Can talk about their American veteran friends, and in America, the Americans can talk about their Vietnamese veteran friends, and it becomes a loud voice. And soon it will affect the people who make policy. Whenever I have the opportunity, I will teach the younger people the good things about Vietnam, the good things about the Vietnam people that I know, and of course, the very important friendship of Nguyen Van and myself.
Thank you for your attendance. May I wish you health and success, and hope that you will soon come back to Vietnam.
Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again in our next English News Bulletin.